So much like the title of this video, it's come to my attention to ask this sort of weird question, which is, does it truly matter to ask, is it woke about games? Does it really matter to ask that question anymore? And of course, we're going to elaborate into what this question really means, especially coming from me. But, you know, it's interesting because we've got games recently that have come out, for instance. Well, a lot of games have come out, and of course I'm covering them on the channel. But we have a lot of games that come out. And recently, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a game that's come out. And you've had for a while now, as a response to wokeness invading our games, our movies, and all of our media, our products at large. We've had a lot of woke products come out over time. And so people, they developed a response, which is it woke, right? Which is kind of a stupid question to ask because it's really easy to know whether or not something's woke. But also, I mean, yeah, it's kind of blatant on the face. Is it just woke? And of course, people, they would answer that. And a lot of people, they didn't really know what to answer that with. Is it woke? Because a lot of people, they're not willing to be honest with themselves about what wokeness is. What is wokeness? But you know, now we look at games like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, where they allow the main character who's not gay to be gay. And now they make the companionate, kind of brotherly character from the previous game, Hans. Now he's supposed to be gay as well with your character. And it just ruins every single dialogue line in the game. It ruins the dynamic between the two characters. These two guys, now you regard everything that they think and say through the lens of homosexuality. That's what happens now. There's so many things that the two characters say, you can't just take it for face value. Oh, it's two guys speaking to one another. Now it's just clearly like, this is just gay. This is homosexual. It's impossible now to actually regard what it is that they think and say as if it's two straight men speaking to one another. You know, you can't have men simultaneously be brotherly and also be potentially gay. They can't simultaneously be friends, which is pretty much synonymous with saying brotherly, and then also be potentially gay. You can't regard a man as your brother, as your friend, but also equally know that he's totally down bad and ready to penetrate the anus. It doesn't work that way, and that's not how male relationships work. There's a reason why straight men make a lot of gay jokes. There's a reason why. And it is to rule out homosexuality. Any drop, any potential of homosexuality from your relationship, you know the dude's a freaking gay. If you make a homosexual joke and he takes it serious. And that's where we're at now today. You know, we're getting these games that thinks that you can just blur the lines between brotherly contact and homosexual contact. And that's where we're at now. So, the question, is it gay? Is it woke, right? Does it matter to really ask if something's woke? Because it's really coming down to now, and this is something I've been realizing through seeing the conversation of people talking about these issues. The conversation really comes down to, okay, is it woke? Is it gay? I mean, we know it's gay, right? But it's the same thing as, is it woke? Yeah, if it's gay, it's woke. But that's the problem right there. If you ask, is it woke? The real question to ask is, well, yeah, it's woke. Oh, nice, we got an ad here. How's it going, ad? Anyways, but is it woke? It doesn't so much matter if it's woke, as long as you care about whether or not it's woke, right? Because this game is woke. And this game is gay, which is woke. But the problem now is, do you care? And are you going to care that it's woke? That's the next question. Now, yeah, there's a lot of people that care that it's woke, but there's a lot of shills out there who are going to make amends. They're going to make excuses for wokeness. So whenever people ask, is it woke? It's like, well, yeah, it's woke only so as far as you're going to give a crap about wokeness. Of course, this game is woke. Now, of course, the game overall, is the overton of the game, is it woke? Not exactly, but that's never the point about is something woke. Yes, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is woke. Within the first 3 hours, there's so many gay innuendos, there's so many dialogue lines where it's like, don't be a stick in the mud. Well, that's a gay innuendo right there. You can go down the list, there's a bunch of gay innuendos of the dialogue. You can barely take anything serious. No longer is this a story. No longer are these a bunch of characters that you can take seriously. Now everything that you hear is through the lens of parody. You can't take the dialogue serious anymore because everything is gay adjacent. So, and this is the problem, by the way, with them going in the direction of homosexuality with the characters. It's absolute nonsense. But anyways, whatever. So, people ask the question, is it woke? And does it really matter, right? For someone that wants to think that homosexuality is totally normal, they're going to sit there and act like this is a game that isn't woke. For people who want to believe that black people are in Anglo-Saxon demographics and regions, well, then this game isn't woke, and that's the problem with asking, is anything woke nowadays? Because there's a bunch of people, they want to make excuses for wokeness. So how do you find problem? How do you find issue with wokeness when you're going to make excuse for wokeness, right? So, of course, yes. Are there a bunch of woke elements in this game, especially with the homosexuality latent within the game's content? Because the dialogue, it kind of feels like more than the previous game that it's leaning towards the homosexual direction for whatever reason. I guess a change of writers, maybe female writers, because women, they do not understand male relationships whatsoever. They don't understand the difference between homosexuality and friendship between men. There's a bunch of straight men growing up. You'll be fake gay with your friends. Fake gay because it's funny. Fake gay because it's a way of ironing out actual heterosexuality in your relationships. Now, of course, homosexuals, they don't understand this because any form of male intimacy is gay for homosexuals. But then you also have, let's skip this trash. Oh, there's Gladiator. I guess there's 2 ads. Whatever. Gay men do not understand the relationship between actual brotherly contact or friendship, which is synonymous to brotherly, but, lesser than brother. Anyways, they don't understand the relationship between men. And women do not understand the relationship between men. So you have intimacy between men of any form, and now it's supposed to be gay. Because we're seeing this through the lens of the gays and the feminists, right? Or just women in general, but specifically feminists, because if they're working for this game, they're a feminist. Because proper women, women who are not feminist, they know their place. And they don't try to become writers for games, and they don't try to push themselves where they don't belong. So, that's a whole other conversation, but regardless, again, is it woke? It really comes down to, do you even know what wokeness is? Which is progressivism, which is egalitarianism, etc., etc. Do you even know what wokeness is, and are you going to excuse wokeness? That's the problem with asking, is something woke? Do you even know what wokeness is, and are you a wokeness apologetics sort of activist or just ideological sympathizer? Whatever it happens to be. That's the issue with asking, is something woke? Because ultimately, we see that there's a lot of people who are willing to excuse a lot of this nonsense in our media today. So it's been interesting for me to be watching because you have a lot of woke shills that have awoken, especially ever since Trump won the election. And of course, I knew after Trump won the election that the wokies were tired and they're exhausted, and people were saying it. And I was like, I agree with you saying that the wokies are exhausted. But of course, they've regrouped as they always do. And what happens whenever they regroup? Well, it's time to start calling all the right-wingers Nazis and bigots and racist, homophobe. Just call them all the words in the book. If that doesn't work, call them rapists. If that doesn't work, just keep on finding new things. Say that they just do all kinds of stuff, because there's a bunch of other examples. It's just an endless row of slander and defamations to throw at your character until you silence yourself by proxy of defamation. That's how it works. Or they virtue smuggle a conversation as well, you support slavery. Oh, you support genocide. Or they'll start throwing a bunch of things at your face until they can virtue smuggle the conversation and act like they are on the high horse and you need to silence yourself because there's something evil that you stand for or whatever. So it's very interesting to me, this whole sort of conversation around, is it woke? Because when you look at a game like this, by the way, you have women in this game who are definitely within their feminist street cred. Men will slap a woman on the butt, and in this game, in a cutscene, and she'll turn around and slap him as if there wouldn't be repercussions for a woman slapping a man. And it's regardless of whether or not the guy should be slapping her butt. The problem is that women back then, they knew that turning around and slapping a man, that was completely improper behavior, even if he slaps you on the butt. There's other avenues for correcting that behavior. And obviously there's a time where a woman could slap a man, but it's like, there's so many situations, especially in the situation in this game. No, you're a ridiculous female for thinking that you're going to just turn around and slap a man in the face after he slaps you on the butt. That's not going to end well for you. Just keep on walking. That's what a woman would actually do. But again, this game is written by someone on the team is feminist because they keep on trying to make women. Now, women are in their role in this game. They're not warriors. They're not soldiers. But this is still a shade of feminism where the women, they're still, this game in the first 3 hours, again, a bunch of gay innuendos, humiliation ritual for Henry, whatever the frick his name is, Henry and Hans. It's a humiliation ritual for the two of them, where they're constantly being put in their place by, at times, women. Women being in authority over you, women, because there's one chick that ends up hiring you at the tavern, that another chick that who got slapped on the butt, that whole thing, she's also working there too, and the chick that gets slapped on the butt, who happens to be a part of the narrative for some amount of time in the story, still going through it right now as we speak, but regardless, she has a very fiery personality, a very feminist personality where, you touch her on the arm, she says, "Don't touch me." And she's just very bossy and very authoritative against men. And she always has to make her voice known, and she always has to talk back to men. That's a feminist archetype. And that is something that we've seen a lot more in modern day. And that's something that we're seeing with the female characters in this game, is that they're all feminist archetypes. Now, they're not the modern day feminists, but it doesn't matter. It's feminist. It's just, I don't need no man, or I am independent from men, or men and what they think and say doesn't matter to me, and I completely operate outside of what men think and say, that whole thing. we still have a feminist ire to the female characters in this game, unlike the previous game, interestingly enough. And, women always have to get the one up on men in dialogue. You notice that too in weird ways. If you flirt with another chick in the game, if you flirt with her when Henry's waking up from his visions, which is basically recapping the previous game, you try to flirt with her and she'll make fun of you, right? She'll make fun of you, and you will lose reputation with her too, by the way, for flirting with her, because you say that you woke up and you saw a beautiful woman and blah blah blah, and apparently you lose reputation for flirting with her. I mean, geez, Elise, are we really trying to reinforce homosexuality in this game for the characters? I guess. But anyways, you're kind of shamed for being heterosexual, at least within the first 3 hours of the game. You're sort of shamed for it because of the dialogue options you make. You lose reputation for flirting with women. What the frick is this? Okay. And I'm going to guess that the deeper we go into the game, if you flirt with a dude named Hans, and I don't know if there's other options, I pray to God there's not. If you flirt with a dude, I'm going to guess that you don't lose reputation. So it's just on. I swear if that's the case, dude, this game will just Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. It will just be so ridiculous. But you see this with so many games. It's kind of nonsense. But I don't know if we're going to be rounding the bases on this one, and we'll finally be pushing back on the wokeness and coming back to conventional masculinity, femininity. You can flirt with women, and because I've been saying this, and I have videos that have yet to come out on this, but they will be coming out, which is that we need problematic men and women back in gaming. We need it. It's enough, and it's grown tiresome that we have to look at women flirting with men as problematic, and men flirting with women as problematic, and a man touching a woman problematic, and a woman touching a man problematic. We need to support homosexuality instead, that when a man touches another man, it's just a joke. Oh, haha, it's so silly. No problem with that because we are sodomites. But of course, when a man touches a woman, well, we are sodomites, so that's a problem. I'm so sick and tired of this. I'm sick and tired of the fact that a man can't touch a woman by the arm, that a man can't do anything with a woman or else he's an offender, right? I'm sick and tired of it. It used to be very normal, especially within American culture, that men would touch women because everyone knew that no one was a sodomite, and people knew that other people were not just these crazy criminals. But nowadays, because of leftism, which by the way supports criminality, but it's a weird dual-faced coin with leftism with many different topics, right? Like, for instance, leftists, they hate Yahtzees, but they don't hate Marxists. And by the way, it's not that being a Yahtzee is a problem. No, the problem is actually just the fact that you're white and you support white civilizations. If you are pro-white civilization and you happen to be a white man as well, just in general, two separate things. You support white nations, but also you happen to be white as a man. Then the left hates you and they call you a Yahtzee. You are a Yahtzee. You should die. That's literally what they believe. Of course, they don't care about blacks or browns being anything synonymous to the Yahtzees. They don't care about that. And they don't care about Marxism and all the absolute disgusting filth that Marxists that they push, which is the gender stuff, which is feminism. There's a whole history with that anyways. But they also don't care that Marxism leads to the deaths of many, especially, remember those 30 million Bolshevik men, Russian Christian men that are dead? That died due to Marxism? Remember that? Communism? Socialism? Isn't that interesting that no one cares? But again, it's not that being a Yahtzee matters. It's the fact that you're white. It's the fact that you believe white nations should remain as whites. That's the real problem. So anyways, now I do have to give it to this game. This is like one of the only games in modern day that largely has white people in a white location, white region. Now, of course, there are black characters in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which is ridiculous. But that's where we're at nowadays, right? So we have to find a way to push the blacks into a white property, a white franchise, white region, white history. Doesn't matter if it's white, because we got to find a way to put the blacks and the browns in. And that's always what it turns into every time with this nonsense. You can't just allow characters. I mean, same thing with God of War Ragnarok. It's not enough that we're in Norse mythology. We have to find a way to make Angerboda a freaking Hawaiian brown chick or whatever, black. I don't know. And there's other blacks in the game too, in God of War Ragnarok, even though we're talking about Nords. But here we are, right? We have to always find a way to bring the browns and the blacks into white people, anything, country, properties, movies, games, doesn't matter what it is. So is it woke? You have to ask the question, is something woke? Well, do you give a crap? Or are you going to be an apologetics missionary for wokeness? Most people today, they have turned into apologeticists, missionaries for wokeness. That's what they've decided for some reason. We're going to just make apologetics every day for wokeness. Okay. So, you know, a game like this, yes, the women are much more feminist than in the previous game. There's a lot of one-up-liners by women. You lose reputation for flirting with certain chicks. What the frick? Again, certain women in this game, they have feminist archetypes where they boss around men and they believe that they need to put men in their place, which is absolutely not traditional. This is not how women thought and behaved. In previous eras. I know we like to think that modern women are what women have been all throughout history, because you're like, well, what are the odds that, well, of course there were women that thought this way even back then. No, it wasn't common. And no, it wasn't normal. It's only more common and much more normal nowadays because pieces of filth have been pushing feminism. That's why you think it's okay now today. And this is what amazes me, is that the Overton window has been shifted so drastically that now we sit here and we say that homosexuality in this game is normal. It's not normal in any game, but especially not normal in a Christian game. What the frick? Especially for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, where the characters are not gay. But I guess we need to force that they're bisexual now. Am I right, sisters? And of course, you know, we always sit here and we say, well, it's nothing is wrong with pushing the blacks and the browns into white properties, white games, white movies, white regions, white culture. Doesn't matter. Oh, and that's right. White culture doesn't exist because now white culture needs to be for the browns and the blacks. Here we are. Here we are. So guys, that's kind of everything I had to postulate with you here, especially in kind of aftermath, thinking about this game, thinking about what everyone's talking about, how people are running cover fire for the writing and for the narrative and for the change of ethos in this game. Obviously, things have changed. Obviously, the writers have changed. And now we are excusing wokeness, excusing homosexuality. But again, so let's come back down to this question. Is it woke? Yes, it's woke. Yes, they're pushing in a lot of wokeness with this game. Homosexuality, the multiculturalism, absolute nonsense. Yes, are they pushing in wokeness on this game? One of the few games, by the way, that wasn't woke nowadays. Yes. Yes, it's woke. Does that mean that all of it's woke? That was never the point of calling anything woke. Of course, shooting a gun isn't woke. In a game where, you know, you're playing Wolfenstein, shooting a gun's not woke. Of course. Not swinging a sword is not woke. We don't have to be autistic retards about this. But what are we talking about here? Yes, there's a lot of stimuli within this game, and that is woke. Obviously, there's dialogue in the game that isn't woke, but there's a lot of dialogue that is either woke adjacent or it's just blatantly woke or whatever else. And we have archetypes of characters that are woke. Now, this is the question, and this is what I started the video with. Are you going to give a crap that a woman's talking back at you? Are you going to give a crap that a woman is getting her feminist street cred in because she's talking back to a man? She's getting a one-up on a man. She doesn't obey any man's authority, or she always has to play hard to sexualize, hard to get. Because feminism. Because normal women, they don't fight men. Normal women, they will be jokey and silly with men because they don't hate men. That is what normal women are like. But when we get closer and closer towards feminism, you will notice that women fight men more and more. That when you touch a woman, she has to bark at you. When you make a sexual joke or a sexual provocation towards a woman, she has to bark at you, fight you. Why is this? Because of feminism. This is not normal. Women, they used to not be like this for the longest time. Women and men, for a while, they used to know their place with each other. But now, because of feminism, men, they have to be simps. Men, they have to be white knights. Men, they have to, they have to believe, they have to self-accuse themselves ahead of any crime, of anything. They have to self-accuse that they are an aggressor on any woman that they come onto and flirt with, right? So you can't just have proper relationships between men and women where you flirt with a woman and a woman flirts with you. You touch a woman and it's not the end of the world. And maybe you touch a woman and she's not into you. Well, that's okay. You touched her, she's not into you. Okay, you work it out. Which is just, oh, she's not into me, whatever, move on. But nowadays, that has to be regarded as a crime, right? So we have this sort of mindset with the female characters in this game. I don't know how much worse it gets the deeper we go into the game. I don't know if maybe they spool it back and it's not so feminist anymore. Maybe it's just one here and there. But right now, within the first 3 hours of the game, it's littered with feminist archetypes on the women, for the most part, and with exceptions here and there. And of course, we got a bunch of gay innuendos, and of course, we know that there's a bunch of woke nonsense later in the game as well. But, we'll see the deeper we go in, and again, is it woke? Well, are you going to tell yourself that wokeness is okay? Or are you going to have convictions and stand by what you believe in, stand by what you say, or whatever, well, if you have any convictions that you speak by, whatever. And are you going to have a problem with the wokeness, or are you going to give up on your convictions? It's really up to that. So, it's interesting because I just noticed this. The deeper that we go into the wokeness era, you have a lot of people, they want to treat the Overton window as if it is shifting and they want it to shift. And then because it's shifting, they want you to think that homosexuality is now normal in our products today. Anyways, guys, that's enough from me. By the way, do not forget, check out oh my gosh, it's kind of funny that we're this deep into the video, but it doesn't matter. Do not forget, I am writing my books, my stories for you guys as the alternative, the remedy to wokeness in our media, in our storytelling. If you are sick and tired of games pushing the homosexual stuff onto you, if you're sick and tired of stories pushing all this gay and feminist nonsense onto you, I have made the proper stories to be the remedy, be the solution. They have creativity and imagination in mind. I wouldn't write it unless it was good. So, if you guys appreciate what I do here, and listen, by the way, I'm not going to be doing this channel for much longer. If you guys are not registering with what I'm doing, I do this channel because of the books I'm writing, okay? I'm serious about this when I'm saying I'm here to be your solution. That's the only reason I do this, because I have to get out to you guys. You are my audience. I want to create the stories that, George Lucas used to make, J.R.R. Tolkien used to make. Now, of course, I'm not like them, and I'm not going out of my way to be like them, but I make my stories to be the next. creative visionary for you to make proper stories that you will remember. You will love the characters. We don't get this anymore, and someone has to do it. And I know how to make proper stories. So again, if you want a proper story, for instance, on Brotherhood, definitely pick up the Realm Lords Apocrypha. Really great first book to a big series that I am writing right now. And I have a lot of other stuff coming out. So again, guys, I am creating the solution. So just pick up my work. If you want to support me, if you want me to continue doing what I'm doing here, pick up my stuff. And again, it means a lot to me to have you guys, my audience, share your thoughts as well. So please, after reading, do share your thoughts with me. Do tell me how you like or enjoy my books, my stories. It would mean a whole lot, because it just does mean a lot to hear your feedback on the things that I am making. So, but this is why I'm making my stuff. And if you are sick and tired of wokeness and you want something that is the proper alternative, then you can pick up my stuff. So anyways, guys, that's the reason why I made this video. I just kind of wanted to get it off my chest, just talking about noticing this shift in the dialogue, noticing how when people ask, is something woke, and then you give them a proper answer and you tell them, well, it is woke and here's why. It's just like, I'm noticing that now you have a lot of people, they're trying to normalize wokeness, and now they're trying to make fun of you for calling out wokeness, labeling it correctly for what it is. They want to make fun of you for that as well. There's a lot of apologetics going on out there, and because of this, you have a lot of people, they're running the bat again for wokeness, and this is just a weird new trend where it doesn't matter if something's woke, because if something is woke, how many people are going to make excuses for it being woke? Because right now the left, they're trying to just reacquire the frame of the conversation and say, well, it is woke, and what's the problem with that, right? That's ultimately their purpose, is to make you question, well, what's the issue with wokeness? And that's just where, like, this whole conversation, this whole video kind of stems from, for me, is just like, it's just thinking and pondering on it. Like, obviously it matters if something's woke, but like, if you're someone that's asking that question, is it woke? You better know full well what wokeness is, and not become some random apologetics kind of missionary for the religion of the left. If you're going to play for missionary on their side, then why do you act like you care? And that's the problem, is that there's a bunch of people, they'll randomly ask if something's woke, but then they want to make excuses for wokeness. It's just very strange. So this is a new trend that you're seeing, is people just trying to tell you, yeah, it is woke, and what's the problem with that? Yeah, it is woke, and you should accept that, right? You have this new group of people trying to do this, and some of these people, they pretend to be anti-woke. They don't seem to understand properly what anti-woke even is or what it means. And for some of these people, they just want you to stop caring about it.